what's the priority? If we go back to those fit variables, there's going to be one fit variable that is non-negotiable. So as an example, if we say speed or power is my primary objective, that's what I'm trying to target here. But the primary objective, the fixed variable is going to be, or the non-negotiable, is tempo. You know, I want to move this fast. And so then everything around it, the sets, the reps, the load, the rest, all that stuff is secondary. Because I want you to move this fast. Okay, so after you assign or decide on what the primary objective is, you have to decide what's my priority. What is the one fit variable that I'm not going to sacrifice for anything? Because if you start sacrificing tempo, you know, if the objective is speed power, and I say, well, you know, tempo is secondary, I need you to get 8 reps. Well, what might happen? Maybe you slow down. And if you start slowing down, well, now it's no longer a speed power type of emphasis. So whatever the objective is, pick a priority, and then there's going to be one fit variable that doesn't get sacrificed for anything. That's your non-negotiable. And so what Mike's saying here, that's step 1. So in this 4-step process, the first thing you have to do is decide what are we trying to accomplish, and what's the one variable we're not going to change for anything. Say we pick tempo as the priority. That's the one non-negotiable that we have. And we say, I want you to move this fast. And then we choose 100 pounds. Like, I can't do 100 pounds that fast. Well, then our tempo gets sacrificed. And so the load that we choose should really reflect all the other variables that come before it. So if we choose this tempo and this reps and the sets and the time and the rest and all this other stuff, then we choose a load that allows us to do all those things. If we choose a load second and then try and put sets and reps and stuff after the fact, well, the load may confuse all that other stuff. So we start changing all the other things to fix the load, when at the end of the day, the load is irrelevant. It's absolutely irrelevant, because every single person in here is going to have a different capacity. So the absolute load that we can handle for this reps and these sets and this time and this rest is going to be different across everybody here. And so let's figure out what we want to do in terms of the reps and the sets and the tempo and all this stuff for everybody. And let's all choose a load that allows us to do those things. Because the reps and the sets and the load, and the tempo, that's going to dictate what the adaptation that we get is. And the load just kind of comes in at the end to say, you're going to use this to achieve all these other things. So it's a relative load. So we're using a different load for every single person in here to achieve the adaptation that we've set as the priority. The first time you choose a load, you're not going to know whether the load was appropriate for all these other things. But this stuff is dictating where you want to be on that continuum. So if you're saying that I want to perform more of a strength power piece, well, that's going to dictate what type of tempo you can use. And so as an example, if we're doing push-ups, how do we determine what your tempo is in a push-up? Or what's one way that we can determine what your tempo is? Exactly. So how many you can do in a minute? So you say, I need this many reps to achieve this tempo. And so that tempo could be super fast if you're on the speed end of the continuum, and maybe it's a little bit slower if you're on the strength end of the continuum. That's going to then dictate what load you can use. As you guys create this speed power type of stimulus or demand here, we're going to have George come up, and George is going to be your client. So you're going to see in real time what you just put together and whether this kind of makes sense from a design standpoint. Is this something you would actually do with a client? We're looking for a speed power adaptation here. Let's go a fast tempo. So step 2 is going to be we're choosing the reps and the work period. So what's a potential rep range we could be doing?
Power 2 10 to 5.
5? All right, 5 sounds great. Okay, so we're doing 5 reps. If we're doing 5 reps and the tempo's fast, what type of work period are we looking for?
A short work period, long rep.
Okay, short work period. So what would the expectation be? So think about, we're doing push-ups here. 5 reps. How fast do you want this to be? Is it 5 reps in 5 seconds? Is it 5 reps in 3 seconds? Is it 5 reps in 10 seconds?
5 to 5.
5 and 5 seconds? Okay, so our work period is going to be 5. If we say work period is 5, that means 1 second per rep. So that's the tempo that we've set. So that's step 2. So far we've got fast tempo, we've got 5 reps, 5 seconds. How many sets do we want to do? 5? All right, we're going to do five sets. And what type of rest do we want?
5 seconds.
5 seconds rest?
No,
One
probably
minute.
like a minute.
1 minute? Okay, let's try 60 seconds. And then, so the load that we choose at the end is going to be a load that allows us to do all those other things. So what would you guys be looking for? So if you're the PFT working with the client, George is going to come up in a sec, and he's going to go through this session. What are you looking for to say, yep, this was appropriate, or nope, that wasn't appropriate?
Maintain the 7 keys.
Okay, so 7 key things, definitely. That's going to be one of the things that we're looking for. What else are we looking for?
How comfortable he is completing the task.
And what do you mean by completing the task?
If he's able to do it with ease, then we gotta regroup and add more or try.
Okay, so what does it mean by do it with ease? What specifically are you looking for?
There's no fatigue or he doesn't seem to get a benefit from it, if you will.
Okay, so maybe we get some feedback from the client on how tired he is. Or what's another indicator of fatigue?
Can't hold a 7.
Can't hold a 7? Sorry, what did you say?
Yeah, that's what I, not doing it properly.
Not maintaining the tempo. So if the tempo starts to slow down, that's an indicator of fatigue. Particularly because tempo was the priority. So that's something we can't sacrifice. So if we see George start slowing down during the set, that's going to tell us something. If we see George slow down in the second set, that tells us something a little bit different. If we see George start to fail or slow down on the 5th set, that says something even different. So where we see George either lose these 7 key features or start to slow down, that's going to tell us why or why not this may have been appropriate or not. All right, George, you ready?
Yep. So how we want this to go down is I'm coming up to Dave, and Dave, what do you want me to do today?
We're going to be doing push-up.
Okay.
So-
And
So yeah. So
how do you want me to do it? I've done all kinds of push-ups, Dave.
Stand up so you guys can see this.
So we're gonna be doing a speed power session here, George. So
Okay.
what we got is we got 5 push-ups, and so we're doing 5 sets of 5, and I want your tempo as fast as you can. Okay, so we're trying to do five reps in about 5 seconds. So I'm gonna time you, see if we can get five reps out in 5 seconds. So I want you guys watching for those 7 things. And anybody got a clock to actually time George? So George's target is 5 reps in 5 seconds.
Are you starting me out?
Everybody ready? All right, 3, 2, 1, go. How many you doing?
I don't know. You got to give me 5 seconds, right?
No, 5 reps.
I got it.
That was more than 5 reps.
It was 4.5 seconds.
4.5 seconds, okay?
So you got 5.
I'm doing it as fast as I can, and then
Yeah, just do 5.
that's all I'm doing.
We'll count time. So we're looking for George, and somebody count his rest. So we got 60 seconds here?
Yeah, we're at 25 seconds rest, right?
Okay. So we're going to be looking for George to consistently get under 5 seconds for these for these 5 reps. And so as the PFT, you can be monitoring how fast is he going. So even if he was faster than 5 seconds, did he start at 3? And is that he going 3.5, 4, 4.5? Is he getting slower as we go throughout these 5 sets?
3, 2, 1, go.
There we go.
4.5.
Perfect. And so as your client is resting, you can kind of get a sense of, how did that feel? Does it feel like it's maxing you out? Do you feel like you're fatigued a little bit?
oh, I feel good. That feels real good.
Feels pretty good?
Yeah.
And so with feedback from the client
Feel like I'm working.
and the time that you got, you can make some inferences about whether or not this was appropriate. Okay? So what do you guys think so far? Is this appropriate for George so far?
No.
It's not?
No, because he's got too much rest and not enough work. you know, he's not really accomplishing anything. He can do 5 push-ups in less than 5 seconds, and it's not gonna be.
But based on our design, is it
How much
working?
time do we?
Yeah, yeah, I mean, yeah, 10 more seconds.
Just, we'll hold that thought for just a sec. Pardon? Said he's working, yeah.
5 seconds. 2, 1, go. Four seconds.
4 seconds? Awesome. So how do we determine if somebody has too much rest?
Because his time, he's actually, he did those push-ups faster, so he's recovering more and more. He's getting blood to where he's.
Is that a
using-
good thing?
Yes.
What we're doing, yeah.
Yeah. So with speed and power, in my experience, a lot of people don't rest long enough. If you're trying to really make your client fresh so they can achieve max tempo, max speed in these few number of reps, you want lots of rest. You don't want them starting to fatigue. And so you can play, like we can shorten the rest period a little bit with the client the next time. But what we might find is they start slowing down. Their perceived exertion starts going up. And that's an indicator that we didn't give them enough rest.
10 seconds.
And let's not make an assumption until we go through our original design. You know what I'm saying?
3,
Let's let them go through the
2,
5 sets.
1, go. 5 seconds.
Same? Okay. Good. Is that 4 or 5?
That's 4.
That's 4. Which say, so what did we just learn?
A little slower.
Okay. So you see right away, you wanted to jump to a change. Let's see how it plays out here. Because I think George is getting tired.
Come on, chief. Bring it home.
And so one thing that we could do in terms of progression for George, rather than decreasing the rest, we could add a few more sets. So instead of doing 5 sets, now we're going to do 8 sets. See if he can maintain that same tempo a little bit longer. If we increase the reps, it's a little bit of a different stimulus because now there's more potential for fatigue within the set.
3, 2, 1, go. Just under 5.
What was it?
Just under 5.
Just under 5. Okay, so that's it for George. So now, based on what you guys saw, and how do you feel, George?
Good.
Did it get harder first set to 5th set? You feel
Roughly
yourself?
about the same.
Felt like you were same tempo the whole time?
Yeah, I mean, I felt like it.
Awesome. So what would you guys say about the stimulus that we created for George? Seemed pretty appropriate. So 5th set, he was right under the cusp of what we said we were looking for. And so I think, based on the rest period and everything we laid out, that was probably perfect for George. Had we done another set, maybe we tip over the 5. Had we given him less rest, maybe he wouldn't have got to the 5. What if George couldn't do the tempo we laid out first set? Okay, so if I'm saying tempo was a priority, I'm not changing that. If I extend the time and allow him more than 5 reps, what I've done is said, you don't need to be as fast.
Right.
Change the reps.
Hey, what if the first rep he can't do it? How do we change the load?
Put him on his knees.
Put him on his knees, exactly. Okay, so use what your client's giving you. Not everybody has to do a body weight push-up like this. If you're saying, I need you to move this fast, it's how do I manipulate this other stuff, load being one of them, to allow you to move this fast. And so there's no reason why every single client can't do a whole lot of speed power stuff. You just need to modify everything else around it to suit their capacity. But have a clear idea of why I'm making this change. So why would we choose to decrease the reps versus extend the rest period? Why would we choose to change the load versus change the reps? And based on what we see from our client, we can make that decision. Let's think about the demands and what some of these things look like that we perform on a daily basis. And that's going to dictate what type of adaptation we're looking for. And as I think it was George talking yesterday with the continuum, the question becomes, where do we want to be on the continuum to suit our demands? If we want to be on the far left side over here, which was max strength, it's going to be few reps. If we want to be on the other end of the spectrum, it's going to be a lot of reps or long duration. If we choose an absolute load first, where are you going to be on the continuum? So we choose 100 pounds. Where are we going to be?
Depends on the person.
Depends on the person. So for Mike, maybe that puts him way down here, he can do 1. For George, that puts him way down here, he can do 50. So we don't choose load first, because if we choose the load first, that's going to put us at a certain point in the continuum that may not be appropriate. So we choose reps first, because reps are going to put us on this end, in the middle, or on that end. And then we manipulate everything else around it. If you choose your priority and you know what the variable that you're not willing to negotiate with is, everything else falls into place. That's all you have to do. This whole 4-step process simplifies the design piece, because after you choose this variable, everything else falls into place. So the first 3 variables here, duration, reps, and tempo, just kind of interact with those, those first 2 boxes. So if I choose tempo, I know that the next one is reps and duration. If I choose reps, I know the next one is tempo and duration, and so on. Because the last 2 are the exact same every single time. So if we choose the priority, and we know what we're not willing to negotiate with, everything else is laid out for us. Go back to what Evan said as well, because I think it's a really important point, that they could be the exact same thing. You could be sitting on top of each other, have the exact same reps, exact same sets, exact same time, exact same everything. But by flipping from reps to duration, now you've changed the priority. You've gone to the endurance side, which is exactly what we've been saying. Okay, so because the question becomes, where do we want to be on this continuum? If we're playing in the middle, if we're submaximal strength or submaximal endurance, you're getting the exact same thing. But as a PFT, what am I willing to sacrifice first? That becomes the big question.